Good question. I remember I had five things. Of course, the number one was to concentrate and focus on my studies so that I can get out of the university with a degree. And the other one was to ensure that I get very close to God. Um, Number three was to get a permanent life partner. And number four, to start earning.
Okay, number one, those who go through the church wedding, this is the best couple. So this best couple, I believe you don't just pick someone to stand with you on that day only. That one become your parents. And they are the first people because they know you better, and they decided or they agreed to stand with you. And therefore, because they are people who have gone ahead of you, so maybe there are some challenges, as you have said, and some problems or some issues that you may be going through, and they went through them. And to you, you may see like they are mountains to you, but to them, you find that if you share with them, they will help you out of those small things. But to them, they are small, but to you, because you are encountering them for the first time, to you, you see them as mountains. Now, the other people which should be with a lot of care are friends. Remember, if there's anything that is being fought by the devil, is the marriage. Because we know if we don't have a family, we don't have the church. If we don't have the church, definitely we will not have a nation. And therefore, the friends, one should be very careful. I'm not saying that they are bad, but we should know that not everybody you call a friend is your friend, and not everybody that you may perceive as a friend may be for the good. So basically, if like I've said in my case, we have a couple friend of us. We have the best couple, and we have a couple friend of us who are older, and they are leaders in church. They are older than you, and you have seen them, you have observed them, and you also relate with them, and you hear the way they solve their issues. So in case you have a problem, you go to this person can help you. And then the other thing that I would say can also help is like here in church, when you have the ladies meeting. I remember during that time, this year it has not happened, we used to have women groupings based on the level of the number of years you have stayed in marriage. There are those who are starting, there are those who are based somewhere, and there are those who are grandmothers. And just like the Bible says that the older should instruct the younger ones. So you find that when you go there, because it is a safe space for women, and you share issues, you may find that someone has shared a problem and has said the way he was able or she was able to deal with it. So I can say peer learning. So from such a group, you may be able to learn so much from what the other women have gone through in their marriage and how they are able to cope up. But I would caution one thing. Marriage is for two people. When you include the third party, you must be very careful if the third party is not God. That's why, as he's saying, first of all, before even you go to these people, even your best couple, evaluate and see what you have. Is this something that you can solve between you two people? If something now needs God's intervention, go to Him, because I believe when there are so many problems that can be solved on your knees. So go to God. If it's now beyond, there's nothing that is beyond God. Even as you wait for God to answer that, And this is now where these mentors comes in. But I would say one thing. Your parent, try as much as possible as a married couple not to involve your parents unless it is life-threatening. Why am I saying so? Because if I differ, for example, with him, and then I call the mother and report him to the mother that your son is doing this and this to me, and your son is very bad. There's one thing. There's no single mother that you accept that my child is bad. So you don't expect any support from my mother-in-law, because all that she knows is that my son is good. So actually it is you who has a problem. So the issue of he reports me to my mother and then says your daughter is like this. I'm my mother's best. And that is what I was saying, that if the issue of involving the parents in your conflicts, it's not so good, because one thing, you not get the support. Like I'm saying, if he reports me to my mom, of course my mom knows that this is my daughter and my daughter is good. So you not buy anything from him, or I report him to his mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law knows that my son is good. So the issue of involving our parents in our conflicts, I would say, because of that nature, it will not be a good avenue to solving our problems. And then the other thing I would say is that when we have some issues, and the best interest of our parents is when we are doing well in everything, in marriage, in finances, based on our children. And when we tell them the negatives, actually, I always say we are killing them. Why? Because the fact that a mother will learn my daughter is at risk, or my daughter is not doing well, they start thinking about it, and maybe there's nothing that they can do. So you find that you are piling pressure on them. And eventually, because they cannot stop thinking about it, eventually they will have diseases like high blood pressure, and eventually they die. So what I'm saying is that in as much as possible, when differences comes, because they always come, you differ over, because I remember when you were being undergoing the pre-marital counseling, you were told, he's not my brother, I'm not the sister. But these are two people who have come together with a different upbringing, different ideologies, and you may find that you are just quarreling over something very small. And there's an analogy that is always given, the food is over salt, and no, it's not, because we have different taste buds. Or you get someone who, when you are brushing the teeth and the toothpaste, for one, the idea is to get the toothpaste out of the tube. So it doesn't matter where you start. But you get a perfectionist who must start from here going, and you hear just, and then you find that just such a simple thing, you can differ and quarrel, and if you are not careful, the marriage you break. So as he's saying, friendship, and then know that you can solve your differences. And then the other test in marriage is you find that when you are courting, it is a time of knowing one another, and you can never stop knowing one another. Even after staying together for over 17 years, we are still learning one another. So you can never say that he knows me, or I know him, because every day there is a new thing, a new experience. There are challenges, new ones coming. And the way we solve, you get to know another side of him that you didn't know. So what I can say is that when you are courting, let's not these people who are getting into marriage. And these are the people who are wishing now to get out of it, because they knew marriage is a bed of roses. So you fake, you are not yourself. Because if you are in courtship for 1 year and there's no difference, there's no shortcoming that you have seen in a person, it means one of you must be pretending. But in marriage, you can never pretend. So that is all I can say.
Thank you so much for that. I think she mentioned something to do with the premarital counseling. That's a very important stage. I know nowadays, I don't know whether the people getting to marriage today are paying as much attention as it used to be at that time. Because I remember during our time, we were actually counseled by like 3 different sets of pastors. And I thank God it was divine because they gave us the input that we required. As in, I would say we were equipped. It's a time when you discover that you're getting into a different institution. And so I would say we were mentored into how to prioritize, create the safe space for each other at home. And so it's the joy of every couple that once they get married, the children will come. It doesn't happen to everyone. There are couples who get to marriage and there's a delay, at times 10 years, 15 years, and they have not gotten a child. So it's a time of waiting and praying and trusting on God. But now when children come, of course, if you've been mentored, if you've been trained, meaning that you are expecting that this is something that is going to happen, you plan for it. So I would say planning is key, and planning brings in the issue now of finances. Planning brings in the issue of the home environment, because you get married, you go and get a bed sitter, or you get a 1 bedroom, and then the child comes in, and the child require a helper because most probably the two of you are working. Nowadays there are paternity leaves. But remember, there will be an extra person coming. Other than the child, you also require a house manager. You see, now the planning needs to be in such a way that when these 2 people come in, or even 3, because we are living in days whereby you are seeing couples getting 2 children, 3 children, and even 4 children. So what happens when such a thing happens? The aspect of planning comes in, because planning will help you to weather some of the storms that may come in when the child and the house managers come in. And of course, now when the children, when the first child comes, you're well prepared for that, and you trust God that there'll be no misfortune and all that kind of stuff. And the second child comes in, again, you plan accordingly. When they'll start going to school, where they go to school, and now that kind of stuff. So planning is key. Yeah.
Okay, number 1 is most couples don't pay attention to finances, because I think that is the biggest challenge, and especially if both of you are working. And there's this narrative that has many of especially the women, the wives, that his money is our money and my money is my money. And you really need to agree, because it is in God's plan that as a wife I'm a helper. And that times have changed, because before then our moms, the father used to provide everything and the mother to take care of the children. But with the economic hard times that are happening, and the cost of living going up, so it's something that people need to agree. Because if we don't agree how we spend our money, of course we are going to differ in one way. So finance is very important. and agree that this is what we need to do with our monies. These are the things that we need to take care of. And actually, when you agree, there will be no conflict. The other thing is about like when the children come, it's not just about the two of you. So like there's the house manager who comes in. There's also the issue of relatives coming in to stay with you. And if you don't agree, like who comes also to stay with you, you may find that it becomes a problem because of one thing, reason or the other. So it's important for people to agree. Number one, we need people in our house, because now when we have other people in the house, definitely the issue of privacy also goes away. So you need to agree and come to a mutual agreement that we need our relatives or the support that we need to give them, because you cannot actually separate. Now the people, his people and my people, they are our people. But unless now you agree, because you have heard of cases whereby a wife is given house rent and then decides, no, I'm not going to pay house rent now. First of all, I send that money to my mother without informing. And later, when things don't work the way you'd have wished, now one party discovers that is what you did. And therefore, it's always very important. And then people also don't agree on the number of children. And I think, as he has said, during the premarital counseling, you are told you should even agree on the number of children. Because like one may say, I just want one child. Like for him, he just wanted one. And he was telling me, we give them the best. And I'm like, we give them the best, but me, I love children. So, and of course, I cannot go my way. So it's something that you really have to agree. What do you think of if we have another one? He will say, no, no. Now, actually, when I wanted now number 4, he was like, now this is too much. And he was looking at the problem of pregnancy, swelling of the legs and all that stuff. Then the issue of house girls, the way they are disturbed. At some point, he had to go to work with one of the kids. Now he was imagining, am I going back there? And then because I wanted the 4th born, he was like, another one. So I started calling him the name, because in our culture, you can always know the way we name our children. So if it's a boy, you know this is the. So I started calling him the Babanani, the one who is not born, and all these are through cesarean section. And are you really for real? Yeah, okay. That is what you want? Yeah, I feel number 4, they are good. Okay, now he said, okay, if that is your wish, I don't have a problem. You have my blessings. I just wanted that. And nowadays I ask him, because now he's the comic of the house. And then after that, I ask him, how do you see? And then, well, watch out. But you see, you don't have to force your way. It is you agree. Because if you don't agree, like I remember of another friend of mine wanted, the husband wanted 1 child, but the lady wanted 2. I remember even for the second one, the father did not get involved at all. Even by the time she was going to deliver, the father didn't want to know. And actually, because of that lack of that blessing, the child at those formative stages developed a disability, but by the grace of God, the child now is a bit okay. But you see now, it's because we are not agreeing. And if you don't agree, then there are those sensitive issues. They may seem obvious, even including visiting your relatives, your family. It's something that needs to be agreed. Like maybe this Christmas, I have a desire to go and see my biological parents. But now his plan is we go at our place. So there are simple things, but you need to agree even where to stay. the kind of a house that you want to live in, the estate, if you are blessed, the type of a car, because people differ on very small things, and these are the things that brings cracks actually in a marriage. And you find that like there's a narrative that I don't know whether it's still going on, that marriage is a scam. And why are they saying it's a scam? Because now people also want to live, to bring in ideologies that are not practical. And especially now for the ladies, you find that they want to translate what they are watching in the soaps into marriage. It can't work. Because if you want to, it's acting, if you are not able to differentiate between acting and the real thing, then you see there'll be conflict. Yeah, so generally, in everything, people must agree.
Wow. Thank you. I think we have had a good time together here. Marriage is life. It's real. Marriage is real life. About that scam, about that narrative, marriage is not a scam. Marriage was ordained by God. It's a very practical institution. I think it's the smallest unit in the church. It's where we have the propagation of what God intended, because children come in and we form communities. There are so many negotiations that take place in marriage, as she puts it, from both sides. And living the marriage life the Christian way is what makes it work. Because again, as she says, soaps will only be soaps for watching. And it's very difficult to translate that to real life, and especially now when it comes to marriage. So first, for the people who are intending to get into the marriage institution, number one, friendship. Build your relationship on friendship. Trusting God. Of course, you're coming together as Christians, a Christian man, a Christian woman, coming together, and of course, paying attention to the fact that there are people who have gone ahead of us and their journey is successful. As she said, and as per your question, the right people. Build around yourselves those structures with people who have been, or rather whose marriage life is successful. Of course, there are different ways of defining now the success in marriage, but building it up from the people who have also a Christian life that is practical. As I said, friendship, and again, being real. There are people who fake things, but as she said, you can't fake marriage because it's practical. You must be prepared to wake up to the same man, the same woman, until death do you part, because that is the way it is biblical. So when you're building the relationship, build a relationship with the person that you know you're going to be with this person forever. And it's possible. It's real. Because if God guides you to that person and you start building something with them, see them until the old age. I don't know how, but as she said, it's difficult to say that you've known the other person completely. Actually, it's a journey of discovering each other. I would say marriage is not like the 100-meter sprint whereby it's on to your marks, get set, go. It's a marathon, but it's a marathon that is continuous. The journey of love is a journey of exploration, is a journey of adventure. And it's a beautiful thing. To me, marriage is a beautiful thing, and especially when God blesses you with children and then He gives you the wisdom to mentor them, to equip them, and to work together with them. It's beautiful.